Hey everyone, Delphi Group here with our usual Tuesday weekly market report. So thanks for being here again. Before we get started, let's go back to last week to see what we talked about regarding the SPY and what we thought the SPY might do. We have a gap here, so the indexes could get the indexes could fill that gap. Well, I shouldn't say indexes, but the SPY could fill that gap where the 20-day is here, which now could be resistance. Okay, everyone. Well, here we are back with this SPY daily chart on Thinkorswim. And as we said last week, we were looking for this gap to possibly fill. We thought that it could fill, and fill it did the very next day. We can see that gap filled right there on that green hammer candle. So that ended up playing out in the SPY and actually the other indexes as well. So now what's going on? Well, we were down here by the 50-day moving average. Okay, this red line is the 50-day moving average. And we filled the gap, but we didn't reverse. Okay, 80% of the time, if you know gap theory, we teach gap theory here. 80% of the time, when a gap fills, the stock, or in this case, the index, could reverse. Well, it didn't. Okay, and this is kind of the market we're in right now. We're kind of in this up-only market where all the pullbacks are being bought, especially to the 50-day moving average. This is the 20-day. Okay, and you can see here we put our line in from last week. We said contingent if we close under the 50-day, we were looking for a move to come down, kind of similar to what we said back here when the target hit here off to the 20-day. Okay, so now what? Well, now what we're going to do, we are just going to go back to what we did here on the 20-day. So we're just going to duplicate this and move it over. So, you know, if the SPY does get under the 20-day, we think it will go down to retest again the 50-day and then see what happens after that. Okay, if we look at the weekly chart, what's going on, and we talked about this weekend with our members on our weekend, we do a call on the weekend market report. Okay, we can see what's showing up here, and this is showing up on all the charts. We're seeing bearish divergences here on the CCI and stochastic. Okay, so this ends up being a bearish kind of indicator, which is very powerful, but for now we're still going up, and you can see we are on 6 straight green weeks for the SPY. Okay, that is called a stale green light, which means we could see a red coming up. You can see back here something similar. We had 6 green weeks and then we had a couple red. Okay, the volume was going down, but here last week's volume went up. So we'll just need to watch the volume, but we could expect a red week coming up soon. But for now, we are in up-only mode, okay? So, and don't forget, we do have the Fed meeting next week, which 99.9% are saying they are going to cut. How much they're going to cut, we don't know. If they don't cut, that could be a disaster, and that could lead to the markets crashing pretty heavily because this move is baking in the Fed is going to cut. So that is coming up next week. So yes, for now on the SPY, we're just going to watch the 20-day. If you're long, you can stay long as the markets are holding the moving averages. Okay, so let's go to the Qs. Okay, we didn't do really something similar last week. The Qs was actually very bearish, closed under the 50-day. So we had marked down this contingent move on a break of this support, which you can see it bounced from that support. And again, like the SPY, filled that gap. So what is going on here? Well, we did add a kind of channel here or range on the Qs over the weekend with our members. And for now, this could play out. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we have a volume drop on the daily CCI pivot. Stochastic still way overdone. So what we're going to do, we are going to make a forecast here on the Qs to go a little lower back maybe towards the 20-day moving average. So maybe something like this, because we do have a pivot. Okay, we do have a lower high and a lower low, okay, with a volume drop. So we're just going to go a little lower on the Qs, maybe to head down just towards that 20-day moving average, and then we'll have to see what it does there. If it fails there, okay, especially the 50-day, which is the red, then we probably are going to get a retest of this channel, okay? But again, the Fed meeting is coming up, so who knows, okay? I'm going to remove this just so it doesn't confuse anybody, okay? So that's the Qs. Let's look at IWM. Okay, IWM here. Again, we had our contingent forecast under the 20-day, which it held nicely. And now it is bumping its head up against this gray, sort of gray resistance area here. And we have a pivot, okay, but it is holding this support up here. Okay, so we're just going to move this here, and we will just put it kind of there. If the IWM does get under that, we would expect to move towards the 50-day and this support level. Okay, but there is resistance here on IWM. If we go to TradingView, which we're going to do right now, okay, we have the IWM here up. So you can see there is this pattern still working out. We have this head and shoulders pattern here on IWM. Okay, we can see the shoulders, head, shoulders. That target is above 244. And you can see we identified this pattern back here around 210. So this forecast is working, and we do expect this to hit here, kind of similar to what happened here when we shorted IWM heavily for our members and absolutely crushed this call. I mean, this went from roughly 212 down to 172. So, and you can see we have the cycle line there. So, yeah, the pattern is working. It's taking, a little time, but it is working. And again, we do expect this to hit. When that'll hit, it's not that far now. So, but we are looking for an end of the year move higher in the indexes. Okay. So before we go to crypto, actually, let's go to crypto. Okay. And see what's going on here in Bitcoin. Okay. Well, what's happening here in Bitcoin is, Bitcoin has been trending down, which is why we have this yellow trend line here. Okay, it is now above the 20-day. Okay, but you can see it's below the 50-day. It's pinned between both averages. Again, this line here that we talked about in the past is the Fed meeting coming up next week. So, we are expecting crypto or Bitcoin rather to break out. Okay, so we have started taking some positions. We've taken some positions in Coinbase, some products of Coinbase. We've taken some positions in some of the treasury stocks that are associated to Ethereum, Solana. We just had one just explode today. I believe it's CW. Let me see if I can remember the CDW. Is that it? No, I think it's CWD. Here we go. So look at this. We just had a monster move today, for 2,000% move in this company, Caliber Company. They are in a treasury company associated with Link, which is one of the most bullish cryptos that we are on right now. So we entered a trade in shares. There are no options for this, but we did take shares back here at under $3. And look what happened to this today. This there's no words for this explosion. We cashed out about 80% of our shares up here above $48 pre-market, thankfully. And then look what's going on here. But we will tell you, we're still bullish this name. So just keep an eye on this one, because again, this is one of the treasury companies we've started adding to. I think this is one of 3 or 4 that we're currently in. But again, going back to Bitcoin, we are waiting for the 50-day breakout. Okay, we are starting to add some positions for the next couple months. But as far as the ETFs go on Bitcoin, like BITX, IBIT, we're waiting. We're being patient. Once we get this move over the 50-day, we will be adding call positions to Bitcoin ETFs. Okay, and why is that? What are we looking for here? Well, we have shown you guys this before in the past. We are looking for, again, we're going off of 2017. So we are about to enter the 2 or 3 most bullish months of the year in crypto. Okay, so we are planning to go long again, adding some positions and looking to cash out by November. Okay, so this is like a 1.5 to 2 month window we are trading. Okay, so we are looking for Bitcoin to get a head up again. Is it going to break out to all-time highs? We don't know. We think it could go back to the recent highs around 125,000. Is it going to break out from there? Well, we don't know. But we do think we have a bullish window coming up for crypto. And then again, this is again the 2017 roadmap. Okay, we are coming up to here. Okay, so again, you can see what happened back here from end of September to November. Okay, there was a monster move here, and then we had a pullback, and then Bitcoin went vertical. Is this move going to happen? We are not going to be sticking around for it. Maybe very small positions, but we are going to be cashing out in November heavily in most of our crypto positions, crypto calls, stocks, whatever that may be. Okay, so just keep an eye on Bitcoin. We will update this next week and moving forward as we get into October and November. Okay, so that's it from us here. Hope you guys enjoyed this again. And as always, good luck trading. Please like, subscribe, tell everyone that we're here to help all the traders out there. Thank you and have a great week.